Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1973 Ford XB Falcon GT. Now the Falcon was produced by Ford Australia from 1960 to 2016, with this third generation produced from 1972 to 1979. Started with the XA, then this XB, and then finally the XC before it moved on to the fourth generation. And nearly 212,000 XBs were made. It was also available in 5 different body styles: 4-door sedan, 5-door station wagon, a 2-door coupe utility, 2-door panel van, and this 2-door hardtop. The third generation was particularly notable for being the first generation designed, developed and built in Australia after the American influenced Falcon stopped production in 1971 after being in production for 11 years. So easily one of my favourite muscle cars, not just on this game but in general over the course of the Forza series. And plenty of reasons for that. One being I love the styling. American influence granted, but still great styling, and a really good side profile going on as well. I really do love that sloped roof. And secondly, I like the different colours that it came in, and I do like the fact that it has the black hood there with the decals on the side, which are really rather nice. Thirdly, the engine. Now granted, it's not the most powerful engine you could get in a muscle car from this period, but it is the biggest engine you could get in a Falcon at this period, being a 5.8 litre V8 engine producing 300 horsepower and 380 pounds-feet of torque, which again, not the most powerful, like I said, muscle car from the period. You'd certainly get far more from a Pontiac or a Chevrolet from the period at the same time, but still a decent sized engine and still plenty of power. And what this car has on its side, even though it doesn't have the power or the torque, is weight, or should I say lack of weight, as it only weighs 3,047 pounds, whereas a typical muscle car from America from around the time would be around 300 to 800 pounds more than this. So that does seriously affect handling with all that lack of weight not being there. So it is a really rather good handling vehicle for a car from the time, and plenty in terms of space as well inside, as you would expect from a muscle car from this period, and a decent sized boot as well. Not got any restrictions in terms of width there like some muscle cars that we've seen on this game before. And another thing I really do like is the dash, which is pretty much focused directly towards the driver as it's angled on both sides, and the gauges are really rather clear, and not just the normal rev and speedometer, but also the fuel, temperature, volts and oil is all very clearly seen there. And very simple the layout, but practical and ergonomically efficient as well. So a lot to like, a lot to like. But even more to like is how good this car is to drive. So let's get out onto the open road and see what it can do. Now, one of the best things about this car is the engine noise. It's unique because it doesn't really sound like any of the American engines from the period. Now, granted, it doesn't rev all that high, I like a lot of American cars from the time, but it's got its own distinct sound to it, which I really do like. It's a nice growl to it, and because it doesn't have all that much in the way of weight, it's really rather chuckable in comparison to other muscle cars from the period. Granted, the handling isn't massively impressive, especially since it only has front disc brakes, and we're obviously dealing with the ancient technology of the early 70s in terms of suspensions and the like. But outside of that, because it doesn't have that kind of weight that other muscle cars from the period would have, it doesn't roll around as much, it certainly doesn't understeer like other muscle cars from the period do, and like I said, it's really rather chuckable, and because it's got that kind of torque and the power that to make as much of an advantage of that lack of weight, it's really rather responsive on the throttle, and really does like to be floored at any opportunity. Granted though, the acceleration is not as good as other muscle cars from the period because it does have such a lack of power and torque in comparison to those vehicles, as it can only do 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds, 0 to 121 seconds, and a top speed of 141 miles an hour. Now granted, that top speed is better than some muscle cars from the period. I mean, you'll be Chevelle SS from the same period wouldn't be able to do 141, but again, the acceleration is nowhere near as impressive. But that doesn't really matter to me, because as far as I'm concerned, for all the power and torque that muscle cars have, it's more about the experience of driving it than the result of what you're doing in terms of 0 to 60 times or top speed, or even in terms of handling. It's just about how much enjoyment you can get from it, and I get plenty of enjoyment from this. And yeah, it does really make me want to have more classic Falcons that were sporty from the same period. Granted, the next generation really wasn't a great looking vehicle, but yeah, I do love the looks on this, and yeah, it does make me wish we had a more ordinary XA on this game, because we do have the most rare and most powerful Falcon from the 70s on this game, but yeah, I would like a more ordinary XA to compare against, and obviously I would like an XC as well, because yeah, their looks are different, though this is a most muscle orientated styling from the generation, but I do like the different looks that each iteration had, and yeah, also have different power levels and weights and the likes of that, so yeah, would be nice to have more comprehensive amount of Falcons on the game, but yeah, I guess we had our chance, and that was pretty much missed when the last Forza game was set in Australia, so yeah, I shouldn't really expect it when we're in the game that's set in Britain after all, but yeah, I've always liked this car. It's easily one of my favourites. It's been one of the more consistent appearances in Forza games, and yeah, just hope that we eventually get some more from Australia, because yeah, they made some cracking vehicles in the 70s and before especially, and yeah, I just really wish we had more of them. But nonetheless, a great car, and one that I've been wanting to review for a long time, so yeah, if you have never tried it out, I do highly recommend it, especially if you're into your muscle cars and it's somehow slipped under your radar, as it is a worthy muscle car and certainly is equivalent in terms of quality to their American versions. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.